and I say that with affection. He's in his mid to late 70s. He's held this seat in Congress from Connecticut for more than 25 years. And he may look familiar to you. He may not. He's not one of the more famous longtime members of Congress. That said, if you have seen news about him recently in the past few weeks, it was for a not good reason. There was worrying news about him just about a month ago now. He was speaking on the House floor, and he froze up. He stopped speaking suddenly and awkwardly, and then he seemed to really have a hard time starting up his speech again. He just froze. It was clearly some kind of medical incident. It was definitely scary to see. He did not pass out or anything. He went to the Capitol physician. They ran some tests on him. His office says the conclusion was that they think basically he just had an adverse reaction to a new medication he had just started. The good news is by later that day, he was back at his office. He was having regular meetings and was apparently okay. But again, that health scare, that little point of alarm about Congressman John Larson, that was only just about a month ago. That said, here tonight, I'm happy to report that Congressman John Larson is definitely back and at full strength. He has been eating his proverbial Wheaties. He appears to be very hydrated, very energized, and may I suggest you get out of his way. Watch this.
Men and women on this committee are good people. They're honest and caring people. And that's why I do not understand why you would relegate this committee to no longer being of significance and resort to saying you will do whatever Elon Musk and Donald Trump tell you to do. Where's the independence of the committee? Where's the legislature? We're an equal branch of government. And you start off with a blather, and yet look at the empty seats here. Where's Elon Musk? I'm sure he's a genius and is a very credible person because of the wealth he's accumulated. But that does not put him above the law or the responsibility to come before this committee in this Congress. If he's so great, if these plans and all the fraud and abuse that he's found are so evident, why isn't he here explaining it? You know why. Because he's out to privatize Social Security. He's been on television the last couple of days talking exactly about Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, and what he intends to do. Privatize it. The American people, some of them may have been born at night, but not last night. People are aware of this. Every single one of your districts. Now you have someone coming in to privatize a system, something you have longed to do going back to 1982, because Elon Musk thinks that this is the best thing to do. President Trump has called Social Security a scam. Elon Musk, as the chairman, as Mr. Neal said, called it a Ponzi scheme. Ask that of the people in your district. Ask that, Mr. Smith, of the more than 198,000 people in your district who rely on Social Security, and you won't even let the person who's planning to privatize it, who's telling the big lie in front of everyone, in bold as he possibly can, saying, this is what we're going to do. The Congress is in our back pocket. We don't even have to come before them and testify because we control the House, we control the Senate, and we control the presidency. And it's the tyranny of the executive. It's why these resolutions were first adopted back in 1789, because the founding fathers knew that the executive branch does not have total authority over the legislature unless you have a willing party that says, no, we're going to do exactly what you tell us to do, Mr. Musk and Mr. President. It doesn't matter to our constituents. It doesn't matter how much money they are not going to receive. We're not even going to tell them the truth about what's going to happen to them. They administer to over 70 million people in the nation's #1 anti-poverty program for the elderly and children. Shame! Shame! Can't bring people in front of this body? If he's right, if they're so good, if they're so just, why aren't they here telling the American people about it? They're not, because you know the truth. It's about privatization. I yield back.
Screams his freaking head off in Congress about it this morning. Screams at them. And then at noon, the Washington Post publishes this horror movie script about their plan, indeed, to rip the guts out of Social Security. Beyond firing everybody, which they're already doing, right? Beyond closing the field offices, they're now making it so that old and disabled people literally cannot call anyone to find out what's going on. But then you know what happened? They caved. They decided not to do it. Don't let anybody tell you that pushback doesn't work. Don't let anybody tell you that yelling and making a fuss doesn't matter, or that journalism doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't always matter, but honestly, it's the only thing that ever does. Every single time you don't try, you lose. But sometimes when you try, you win. It's the reason it's worth trying.
I wonder if you have any insights about what your constituents are going through that could inform the debates in Washington or the coverage on shows like this.
Well, you know, I went to visit a Head Start program in the suburbs here, suburbs of Chicago, and they had to lay a few people off as a result of the uncertainty of whether they would see the support from the federal government that they've always received. And when they have to lay people off, that means fewer kids can be in their program. And when fewer kids are in the program, that means there are parents who can't go to work because their child can't go to that program. Now, there are layoffs that are occurring, and they're devastating. Layoffs to government workers. But what about the layoffs that are affecting average folks out there that don't work for the government because they can't get child care, because they can't get the services that they need? It's devastating to families across Illinois and across America. And slowly, but surely, I think people are waking up to see it. But all of us, especially in leadership, need to stand up and speak out and, put the red blinking lights, red alert, like on Star Trek. We are under attack. We, all of us across the United States, everybody is under attack because they want to take services away. You know why? To provide a massive tax cut for the wealthiest and most powerful people in this country. That just seems wrong, and everybody needs to understand it in order to make sure that that they get the impetus to get up, get out there, show up at your town hall meeting, call 202-224-3121. That's the number for the Capitol, and ask to speak with your congressman's office or your senator's office and tell them, don't take my services away. Don't take away Meals on Wheels. Don't take away Medicaid.
Again, there is going to be pain. The richness of a sitting senator like Tommy Tuberville or Elon Musk telling us we're going to have to endure pain. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Again, I think Americans have had it. I hope they've had it. And now we just need to do what we can do to make the case. And look, I own this. We wouldn't be in this mess if we'd have won the election. And we didn't. We have to make sure that Americans know it's not just that Donald Trump is bad, but we're offering them something better. And I think
we're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more. We're going to win.
I watched an unelected bureaucrat last night, not from DOE, from a different agency, lament the fact that she doesn't have influence and power. Well, guess what? You're an unelected bureaucrat. You don't get influence and power. The person who gets influence and power is the duly elected president of the United States and those who he appoints. So get rid of the bureaucrats. To Laura's point, give it to the states. I'm much more comfortable with my governor, who I had a say in, leading things at the smaller level than an unelected bureaucrat out on cable news lamenting the fact that she doesn't have enough influence and power over my children.
That's right.
I just get the idea. If you work at Fox, this is how it is. You turn up and you live inside a bubble, a constant bubble where there's no reality going on. James Carville there causing a little bit of a turbulence. So we all know, for example, eggs in any supermarket in America are kind of expensive at the moment. We're not far from needing a mortgage to get a dozen eggs. This is a balloon, a pair of scissors. If I go pop, you know what will happen. If I let it go, it may fly off. Now, Fox exists in a world where it's not going to pop and it's not going to fly off. It's going to be their own dimension. Ludicrous. And I tell you who else is in there. Caroline Levitt. This is 60 seconds of Caroline Levitt just trying to, because there is something that they're all doing within the Republican Trumpy Trump world. Let's blame it all on Biden. How long for? Shall we pop it or shall we let it go? Let's see if it floats. Here we go. This could well be the perfect metaphor to describe the first, how should we say, 6 days of the Trump economy. It came crashing down. Look, should we do it quite simply? 3, 2, 1. There we go. That's it.
Caroline, on the economy, you mentioned yesterday that this is a transition period. How does the White House measure this in terms of when can you not blame it on former President Biden and when does it fully become President Trump's responsibility?
Well, we've only been here for 52 days, but certainly the president is working hard every day to, again, bring down the cost of living, which we see is already happening. You see the cost of eggs is going down, cost of gasoline is going down because of the massive deregulatory efforts of this president, and also the fact that we are delivering on his promise to drill, baby, drill already. You saw this past weekend, the National Economic Advisory put out a report that because of the regulations we've already slashed in just 52 days, we've saved American taxpayers $180 billion. That comes out to about $2,000 per American household. That's in 52 days. So the president is working diligently and he's working hard on this every single day.